I'm Lisa Haisha here at the Soul Blazing Sanctuary, and I have Jon Cryer with me today. And this is who Jon Cryer is, in case some of you don't know. He's an award-winning actor. He's also a screenwriter, director, and film producer. His motion picture debut was in the 1984 romantic comedy No Small Affair. But he gained greater fame as Ducky in the 1986 John Hughes scripted film Pretty in Pink. In 2003, he was cast as Alan Harper on the hit CBS comedy series 2.5 Men, for which Cryer was nominated 6 consecutive times from 2006 to 2011 for a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series, winning the Emmy in 2009. Cryer received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for television in 2011. And he's also a husband and loving father of 2. So, 2. Count them, a boy and a girl. So, wow, how does that feel?
That was a good one. That was a very good bio. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you have so much information out there. It's like you've done so much more than that, but let's just try to make it concise. Yes.
That's a wonderful condensation of everything.
Yes, thank you. So I wanted to ask you a few questions about legacy. So what is the greatest piece of advice you've ever received?
Moisturize.
Very good. I think we have the same mother.
Yes, and that is surprisingly useful. But no, for me, I don't know. Let me think. The greatest piece of advice was probably when I received my very first career setback as an actor. An actor named Austin Pendleton called me just to buck up my spirits. I had been fired from my very first job. And that was it's such a roller coaster as an actor. You get that first job, and in my case it was on Broadway as the lead in a Broadway show. I was like, oh my gosh, I got my ticket, and I got fired.
How old were you?
And Austin called me and said, John, I don't respect anybody who hasn't been fired at least once. And I know that sounds like a strange bit of advice, but what it made me realize is everybody struggles. Everybody struggles, and it's what you learn from how you respond to those struggles.
How old were you when that happened?
That happened when I was 18.
18. So relatively young.
Relatively young, but it was one of the formative experiences in my career, and I'm actually really grateful for the experience now, because it was like a cold a cold glass of water in your face. It woke me up to what it actually requires to succeed in this business, and which was discipline, which is what I lacked at the time, I like I said, it's changed my career since then, because I understand how hard you really have to work, and how lucky you are, at least in this business, in the acting business, to have a job at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So since that time, what other setback have you had, and how did you overcome that?
I've had no other setbacks.
Really? Just perfect?
Everything has gone wonderfully well since then.
It's turned out absolutely wonderfully well.
No, I've had setbacks. Nothing. I'm trying to think of anything specific. I mean, mostly, I've had good years, and in terms of work, and then and projects that I had really high hopes for that didn't succeed, or...
Yes, didn't you do a string of pilots that didn't succeed?
Oh, yes.
Before 2.5 Men?
Yes, and to some degree those pilots did succeed, because they actually got on the air, which is, again, you've overcome huge odds just to get your pilot on the air, but then to have them last, less than a season is kind of tough. But interestingly, so you can really look at that 2 ways. You can look at that as, wow, I achieved this great thing, or that was a huge failure.
Right.
And interestingly, I always looked at it as an achievement, But there were others. I recall reading an article at one point in Newsweek talking about how this year, all the new TV shows, this bunch was going to fail because they had hired these actors who killed their shows. And I was one of those actors, apparently. I was like, oh my gosh.
Lovely.
Somehow I had acquired the nickname of Show Killer, which on some level you take as a compliment just because it gives you power, you know?
Yeah,
it's like, I'm killing shows. You know,
I can ruin anyone's show.
Exactly. You know, all these, incredibly talented people, they put their good work into it, but I killed it. It took me to destroy the show. It was odd for me to suddenly see my career in this whole different light of these people who thought that I was the reason that things failed. And luckily, even at that time, I read that and it didn't hurt me. I found it funny. And actually wrote the writer about it that I should be used as a weapon sent to foreign countries to destroy their situation comedy capability. But obviously I knew it wasn't the truth. And then of course right away the next show that I did, 2.5 Men, ended up succeeding beyond anybody's expectations.
So what did you do during that time? Did you just accept what is, like living in the moment, saying, I'll get another show? Did you just work harder? Did you busy yourself with theater? Did you?
I've learned some things about the business in that all you can do is just keep showing up. Mm-hmm. Just keep auditioning, just keep trying. It's funny now that I realize it. Yeah, that article was written the year 2.5 Men came out, so it was So
you got the last laugh there.
There you go. Yeah, but you also need to understand that if you're in an industry that is written about a lot, like the entertainment industry or any maybe the high tech industry gets written about a lot. Writers need narratives. They need to frame your life as a story. And sometimes lives aren't a story. Sometimes lives are just one thing happens, and then another thing happens, and then another thing happens. And putting a narrative onto your story makes everything a roller coaster ride, and it'd be fun to watch as a movie. But it's not really how life is,
right?
And I find that that for me, just showing up every day with a good attitude. Makes the low points of your life so much easier to bear, because it doesn't seem so dramatic. You're not putting an enormous weight on yourself all the time. So for me, another amazing thing that I learned just as an actor at one point was I was producing a movie. And I started reading with all the actors who were auditioning. Now, some actors consider that sort of drudgery, reading with every single actor who comes in. For me, it was the best learning experience I ever went through because a lot of actors, including myself, are terrified of auditioning. It's a process where your personality is on trial, but you have very limited power, limited amount of preparation, and it's terrifying to people. But what I saw when people came in was, and it was a huge revelation to me, was that if you're right for the part, you'll get it. Even if you give a lousy reading, even if you're not perfect that day, even if you're not wearing the right clothes, you can tell when somebody walks in the room and they're close to what you're looking for. You'll give them another chance to read the script. You'll let them go out for a few minutes, catch their breath, and come back in. It made me understand that that you just have to, the opportunities will present themselves. You just have to be ready for them. So I've.
How much does personality weigh in with talent? Like when you're casting?
For me, personality is somewhat important. Obviously, if a person is the character, has that quality that you need to put on screen, then you're going to cast them even if you don't like them necessarily.
Okay.
You don't have to like them.
Yeah.
There are some people who've got such serious personality problems that they come under the life's too short category. And you know, you have to think very long and hard before you work with them, and you have to figure how much am I going to have to work with this person?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it 2 days? And you know, for 2 days I can handle it. I just need the thing out of them that I need, and then and then we'll go our separate ways, and everybody will be fine. But it's but like on a TV show, that's a long-term commitment if it eventually goes long-term. So, but you know, thankfully, I haven't been put in the situation where I've had to cast a TV show. The casting situation I did was for features. So, you know, that's a couple of months you're working with somebody at the most.
Yes.
So it's a different set of criteria. But mostly, this is we work in a particular industry where cause and effect have little. It's not a Newtonian situation. Now you can have the same set of circumstances and the outcome could be wildly different. So you have to have a certain almost spiritual aspect to it and understand that at some point you'll get the opportunity. You just have to be hopefully ready and available for it.
Okay, so which one do you like better, acting, directing, or producing, or do you think they're all the same because they use different aspects of your personality and creativity?
They're all different. I can tell you I hate producing.
Okay.
I've produced a couple of independent films but when you're producing independent films, you know this.
Yes.
The amount of time you spend just begging for money.
Yes. And finishing it. It's just like,
exactly.
God, once it's done, it's like, I'm done. I don't want to market it. I don't want to promote it.
I did it. I made the movie. Isn't that enough for you people? I so dislike that aspect. I mean, all of a sudden I understood why, for the producer, on that opening night, getting there with the gorgeous date and getting their picture taken means everything. It's because that's the only fun part of it for them. Virtually the rest of it
is hell. Yes.
So I don't like producing. I enjoy directing quite a bit. But I'll always be an actor. That is the most fulfilling aspect to me, performing. I realized pretty early on that I was a clown, and that the most satisfying thing for me to do is to make people laugh. And there was a time when I thought, okay, I could branch off and do something else. I could be a writer or director and this, that. And I could, but I think there'd always be this part of me that really missed it.
So what does it take to be in the top 1% of your field and be happy? Because there's so many successful people that are just so unhappy and miserable. And I'm like, why? You have everything. Smile, for God's sake. Be appreciative.
Yeah, it's so mind-boggling. I mean, you meet them on a daily basis and you wonder, oh no, this can be such a great job and such a great life. Why let unhappiness rule, how you're going to be? I don't know. Let me think. What for me? By the way, my phone's ringing, so please forgive that vibrating in the background. For me, I guess, gosh, I'm just so happy to have ever gotten a chance to do this. Yeah. And I grew up in the theater and had the understanding that, and saw people on a daily basis with enormous talent who never made a living at what they love to do as performers, who would live in a tiny studio apartment in New York City and occasionally perform at a bar. They'd sing some show tunes and they'd have a great night, and I saw that this could well be the life for me. I saw that I was just like them. I loved this just as much, and I didn't necessarily have any more talent or any of that. And that I've been able to make a living at this since I was 18 even when I got fired, I got hired by another show within a couple of weeks.
Okay. So that wasn't a huge setback.
That was a brutal setback.
I was feeling sorry there for you for a minute.
Without a job. You know, I will always feel so lucky to have to be able to make a living at this on any level.
Yes.
That brings an enjoyment to every day that you know is that I hope is you know contagious to others. I also, a friend of mine worked at a chicken joint in New York as he was a restaurateur and was very talented at it. Ended up running restaurants at hotels and doing very well for himself in that area. But no matter what, he had a great time at work. No matter how hard it was, he just made sure that he made friends with everybody at work and worked with people he liked. And then every day he'd show up to work and have a great time, no matter how hard his work does. And his work was so much harder than mine. I would go visit him and go, "Oh my God, you know, how do you do this every day?"
Yeah, I worked at a restaurant once. It's so much work. I was the manager of, I don't know if you know Gorky's Cafe and Russian Brewery.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I was the person in charge of Hollywood Underground and the musicians, hiring the bands.
Yeah,
enormous amount of work, just that.
Yeah, the restaurant business is for a special breed of human being. I cannot. I admire people who do it. I couldn't.
Right.
But like I said, he surrounded himself with people he liked, or he found a way to like people he worked with, and so every day he looked forward to work. And I thought, wow,
going to see his friends.
Yes, yeah. I hope that I can impart that to my kids. I hope they can understand that they can, you know, they can decide what work means to them. They can decide whether, you know, it's more important to them to, you know, make a lot of money, or is it more important to them to work with people they like and enjoy their work day every day? Is it important to them to do something that they feel is changing the world? Is it, you know, they have a lot of choices. But I hope that they understand that even if they, you know, it's hard to find a job that you love. It really is.
Absolutely. But that's interesting that you would impart that on your children, because I do the same thing with my daughter. On the way to school, when I drive her to school, I say, "What's your intention for the day? Who do you want to play with, or who find someone to say something nice to, and it has to be sincere. Notice things, see who is nice to someone, or if someone's sad, go up to them and make them laugh." And I said, "Tell me every day. I want you to come home and tell me what you did." You know. Then she gets excited, "Mommy, this happened, and it was an opportunity to do this," and it just makes such a difference in how she spends her day.
That's a lovely idea. I'm going to tell that to my 11-year-old son and figure out how he's going to shoot me down.
Right. You got to start when they're young. Yeah, or at the end of the day, what are you grateful for? What happened that you were happy about? And sometimes it's, I had a Tootsie Roll. It's like, great, that's awesome, you know.
There have been some awesome Tootsie Rolls in my life.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sometimes all it takes is just setting the intention and being grateful for whatever it is, because someone always has something worse going on in their life. And, you know, life, it's how you picture it, how you see it. You know, you get to create it. So if you had to finish the sentence, "My destiny has always been," how would you end it?
Oh my gosh. My destiny has always been.
Do you think it was to be an actor since your parents were in the business?
You know, yeah, I would say my destiny has always been to be a performer. It's funny when you, it's the kind of thing that when you're a kid and you try it for the first time, you go, "Oh, geez, this is something I'm going to have to do the rest of my life, because I don't think that there's anything else I'm going to do that I enjoy as much as this." And that happened to me when I was like 12. You know, and by then I knew it. I said, okay, this is what I have to do. I felt really lucky actually going through high school, because I would talk to other kids and say, you know, what are you going to do? And they didn't know. And I thought, oh my God, what a gift that I know what I want. And I feel for people going to college and trying to sort of put it off and put this enormous weight on the decision. It's like, do what you enjoy.
Yes.
You know, find work that you can enjoy. You know, I'm not saying do some leisure activity for a living,
Right.
necessarily, but there's got to be some work you can enjoy somewhere.
Yes, there always is. So,
or find a place where you like the people you're working with.
yes, or just try different things and something will hit.
Exactly.
Somewhere.
Something will make you go, oh, this is what I was supposed to do.
Yes, exactly. So what do you want your legacy to be?
Besides my legacy of comedic injury.
Yes. Besides making America laugh, actually the whole
Yes.
world at this point. It's syndicated, I think, in every single country.
Honestly, that's really all that I want. That I've had the opportunity to have people forget about what they were worried about. That's all I need, frankly. I've already done that. I'm fine with it. I don't want to die right now.
Right. But you're good with your legacy so far. I mean, it's true. John, I was in the bush in Tanzania, and someone there said, "Oh my God, I love 2.5 Men. That show has got me through so many hardships." I'm like, "Excuse me? How do you even get it?" They go, "People bring us DVDs." And that's the one that I took to, and it helps me survive everything I have to go through here. And this is people saying in Bedouin tents that someone brought him a little DVD player and the 2.5 Men DVDs, other ones, but that's the one. This is what we watch at night to make us okay. I'm like, really? Really? 2.5 Men? Okay. Love the show, but in the bush? I wouldn't even think they'd get the humor.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's an honor. It's an honor to be able to be in a position to do that for people.
To reach that range of people.
Yes. You would say, I wonder how our show has any kind of frame of reference for Bedouins in the...
And this is Maasai tribe, too. Bedouins in the mountains of Petra.
Okay.
Maasai tribe. Oh, we love 2.5 Men.
Yeah. Again, I
They also love Baywatch.
Hey, sweetie. This is my Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'll leave you two. I just want to say hi.
I love you, baby. Mwah. Actually, my legacy will be a legacy of love for my wife.
No, there you go.
And some very nice gifts.
Yeah.
Some nice stuff occasionally. And I have a really nice gift for her coming up, but she doesn't know it yet. So.
Excellent. You want to share with us what that is?
No, not yet.
Okay.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, that's right. Floating out on the internet, what could possibly find out? Anyway, but that you never know what roles and what stuff you do as a performer is going to resonate with people. You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to decide that.
Yes.
I mean, you know that.
Yes.
You put it out there and you hope, but it's not up to me to see what people take to their hearts.
Yes.
So that they've taken anything at all to their hearts, I'm really grateful for. People have occasionally said, really, does it bother you that people still call you Ducky? And why? Why would it bother me that a character I did 25 years ago still means something to people?
Exactly. Made that kind of impression that everyone remembers it.
That's the luckiest thing an actor can hope for.
Yes, it's an honor. It's like...
Absolutely, and I take it that way every day.
Yes. Well, God, thank you so much for your time today. This was wonderful, and I think people will gain a lot from what you had to say. You have a lot of wisdom.
So,
yes.
And they'll know that I've got a gift for my wife.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.